Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about the Cloudrunner 2. These are the second iteration of the Cloudrunner, and I want to talk about my experience with them over the last 6 to 8 months. So if you don't know, there are three different models. There is the Cloudrunner 2, there is the Cloudrunner 2 Waterproof, which I've not purchased or checked out, as well as the Cloudrunner 2 Wide. Now, if you are someone who is used to the narrower on shoes, I will tell you that for me, the Cloudrunner in general, and more specifically the Cloudrunner 2, is wide enough. Now, if you have a need for an ultra wide shoe, the Cloudrunner 2 wide will be ultimately what meets that need. But in my opinion, my experience, I do have a wider foot. These are enough. And while the Cloudrunner 2 wide is very wide, I felt like they were a little bit more clunky for me, and they really weren't my style. I thought they were great shoes, and I think they meet a very specific need in the community. They're just not my preference. So not a criticism with the product, just not my preference for style. Let's talk about my experience and the wear and tear of this shoe. So I will be honest, most of the On shoes last me between 3 and 6 months. Now you should replace your shoes sooner than that anyway, because the foam and the air pockets and the stiffness of the foam starts to get a little bit more rigid, doesn't provide necessarily as much support and cushioning, and will ultimately affect your joints like of course your knees, ankles, and your back. I am starting to notice that the bounce has begun to be less and less. You'll notice that there are some creases in here. I'm about 200 pounds, and so I walk roughly 3 miles per day on these shoes every single day. Now, I'm not a runner, I'm not a jogger, but I am a heavier person. I'll say that. I'm heavy. And I'm putting a lot of weight on them. Now, I will tell you, it's not been until the last probably month or so that I've noticed that the cushioning is not nearly as good as it's been in the past with these shoes. And it's probably high time that I replace them with another pair. I'm thinking about the Cloud Surfer. If you got a particular shoe that you want me to talk about, put it in the comments below. I'd love to know. When it comes to the actual bottom of the shoe and the rubber, you will notice that there's a lot of wear right here on this shoe, and we've even gotten down to the foam. So that is honestly with On shoes where I find that the most wear and tear occurs. Honestly, it's usually on the right hand side because of my gait that I wear down the rubber, but in this case it happened, well, I take it back. It's normally on the left hand side or my big toe that it wears down, and not here on the right hand side. And this time, and I think it's because of the angle of the shoe is a little bit more like this, that it wore that down a little bit faster. But in general, you know, these probably about 3 months in, give or take, maybe 3 to 6 months in, it's really worn down that rubber. You could tell that there's like this sort of small grip on it. It's completely gone, like a bald tire. Yeah, that's pretty normal for On shoes. And I would say if there's any product criticism, it's that. But I think they're trying to make ultra comfortable, ultra lightweight shoes, and that's just the cost of doing business there. If you want a more rigid shoe, if you want a less comfortable shoe, it might last longer in terms of the rubber and the foam, but I don't know that it would have the kind of walking on the clouds feel that On is known for, and that's why we buy their shoes. Now, in terms of the top of the shoe, incredible condition. You would have no idea that this thing is roughly 8 to 10 months old, right? You just wouldn't know, because the top of these shoes, to On's credit, they always stay in pristine condition. Very little wear and tear. When you look at the ankle, there's really no, you know, like a lot of times you see shoes that are like worn out there. Yeah, it never happens with On shoes, at least not to me. If it's happened to you, let me know, of course. I found the lacing was awesome. I have some issues with some of On's lacing. This is the more flat lacing. I don't know the way to describe it, but it's a flatter string versus like a rounder string. And I find that these, as well as the material they're made of, stay really well. I don't have to relace these. Some of the On shoes with the rounder lacing, yeah, it's not as good. This is really great. The insole's fine out of the gate. You can of course replace that, but overall, these have been my day-to-day shoe that I've been using for the last really 8 to 10 months, and I love them. This is my third pair of the Cloudrunner, and they're a really great mid shoe. They're not so cushioned. that you feel like you're walking around in clogs, or these extreme running shoes like the Cloud Monster or the Cloud Surfer. Not criticizing, but obviously they're a vibe. But when you're just doing day-to-day walking, or maybe you need something that's more comfortable around the office, the Cloudrunner is really great. I think it's the, I don't want to say the perfect shoe, but it's the great balance between good or great cushioning as well as top-level comfort and breathability without it feeling like it's bulky. So it's that good hybrid for that. I've had a great experience over the last few months, and I would absolutely recommend it to anyone. If you're jumping into the On lineup, it is a slightly wider shoe. It's not extremely wide, but it's wide enough, in my opinion, to meet any foot type. If you're a narrower person, you might not like it because there may be a little bit too much room compared to other shoes. But like I said, it's not excessive. Maybe go to a store and try them out for yourself to determine it. But if you are someone who is concerned about that, especially compared to the regular Clouds that are much more narrow, these are a great entry point for you. And they're not as cushioned as the Cloud Stratus, Cloud Monster, Cloud Surfer, but they definitely have incredible cushioning that goes, in my opinion, pretty standard for On. Which is that, again, three to 6 month period of time before, you know, it's about time to replace those units. Which again, that's a thing with shoes in general. Whether they have wear or tear or not, that foam starts to diminish and will affect, again, the ability to take on some of that pressure and disperse of the shoe. The harder the foam, the harder it's going to be on your joints and back. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed this content. We hope this helps you make your decision. If you have any questions or comments, let us know below. We love dialoguing with our community and building that here for those who are using shoe reviews. There's a specific shoe you want me to do a review on, let me know in the comments below. I'm always interested in of course, On reviews and other brands, and certainly like to hear from my community what you're thinking. Anyway, if you enjoy this content, do me a favor, click that like button, crush that subscribe button, and then ring that notification bell to stay up to date with everything we are producing. And if you want to help this channel, we have a channel membership for $1 a month. We're so thankful for that. It helps us to make these shoes without sponsors, and hopefully helping you making your big financial shoe decisions. Anyway, we hope you're doing well. We hope you're staying safe, and we'll see you in the next one.